Welcome to Things I Appreciate, the Reading Books Aloud series. We are today doing the chapter called Christmas in the book Little House in the Big Woods. Christmas. Christmas was coming. The little log house was almost buried in snow. Great drifts were banked against the walls and windows, and in the morning, when Pa opened the door, there was a wall of snow as high as Laura's head. Pa took the shovel and shoveled it away, and then he shoveled a path to the barn where the horses and the cows were snug and warm in their stalls. Have I mentioned that Pa's a badass? The days were clear and bright. Laura and Mary stood on chairs by the window and looked out across the glittering snow. So bright. They didn't have sunglasses back then. They looked across the glittering snow at the glittering trees. Snow was piled all along their bare, dark branches, and it sparkled in the sunshine. Icicles hung from the eaves of the house to the snowbanks, great icicles as large as the top of Laura's arm. They were like glass and full of sharp lights. Pa's breath hung in the air like smoke when he came along the path from the barn. He breathed it out in clouds, and it froze in white frost on his mustache and beard. When he came in, stamping the snow from his boots, caught Laura up in a bear hug against his cold big coat, his mustache was beaded with little drops of melting frost. That's so sweet. Every night he was busy working on a large piece of board and two small pieces. My hand's getting tired. He whittled them with his knife, he rubbed them with sandpaper and with the palm of his hand, until when Laura touched them they felt soft and smooth as silk. Then, with his sharp jackknife, he worked at them, cutting the edges of the large one into little peaks and towers, with a large star carved on the very tallest point. He cut little holes through the wood. He cut the holes in shapes of windows and little stars and crescent moons and circles. All around them he carved tiny leaves and flowers and birds. I'm telling you, this man is talented. Good Lord! One of the little boards he shaped in a lovely curve, and around its edges he carved leaves and flowers and stars, and through it he cut crescent moons and curlicues. Around the edges of the smallest board he carved a tiny flowering vine. He made the tiniest shavings, cutting very slowly and carefully, making whatever he thought would be pretty. Pretty like Laura and Mary, and of course Ma. At last he had the pieces finished, and one night, he fitted them together. When this was done, the large piece was a beautifully carved back for a smooth little shelf across its middle. The large star was at the very top of it. The curved piece supported the shelf underneath, and it was carved beautifully too. The little vine ran around the edge of the shelf. Pa had made this bracket for a Christmas present for Ma. So sweet. He hung it carefully against the log wall between the windows, and Ma stood her little China woman on the shelf. The little China woman had a china bonnet on her head, and china curls hung against her china neck. Her china dress was laced across in front, and she wore a pale pink china apron and little gilt, you guessed it, china shoes. Where was I? She was beautiful, standing on the shelf with the flowers and leaves and birds and moons carved all around her, and the large star at the very top. Ma was busy all day long cooking good things for Christmas. She baked salt-rising bread and rye and Injun bread, I've never heard of that, and Swedish crackers, and a huge pan of baked beans with salt pork and molasses. Oh, that sounds good. She baked vinegar pies and dried apple pies and filled a big jar with cookies. Cookie. And she let Laura and Mary lick the cake spoon. Boy, things don't change, do they? One morning, she boiled molasses and sugar together until they made a thick syrup, and Pa brought in 2 pans of clean white snow from outdoors. Laura and Mary each had a pan, and Pa and Ma showed them how to pour the dark syrup in little streams onto the snow. They made circles and curlicues and squiggledy things. And these hardened at once and were candy. Dude, that's cool. Laura and Mary might eat 1 piece each, but the rest was saved for Christmas Day. All this was done because Aunt Eliza and Uncle Peter and the cousins, Peter and Alice and Ella, were coming to spend Christmas.